Hey, Feels late. How's everybody doing? This is episode 71 of Snakes and Stogies. Speak of the devil. He's late technically, but he's not late.
How am I technically late?
I don't know. We both weren't here when the intro cut. So if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, Wolf.
No. See, you told me 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And therefore, right now, it is 8:59 p.m.
Unless your clocks are wrong.
It's digital satellite, and it's linked through Apple products. So I doubt it's wrong.
Can be wrong.
I doubt it's wrong.
Well, the jury will remain out on that one. How about that?
All right.
I'm kidding. What's up, everybody? What's up, buddy?
Welcome to Snakes and Stogies.
Look, we got matching hats.
I literally was about to say that.
Mine is all faded. I need a new one. I'm going to get one at Daytona. That's going to be my new tradition. Every year I'm going to get a new Venom Life hat because this one has been through the ringer.
That's good. Mine's brand new. I've only worn it for like 2 weeks.
You got the
and hook. I got my little hook.
Little money clip.
Yo, do not attempt to use
dollar bills in there when you go to the strip club.
Oh, you know it. No, you just use your head, just like that.
Yeah. So this show is brought to you by, as always, Puget Sound pythons, ball pythons, liasis, carpets, Doomerals, boas, all that cool stuff. They breed a lot. They got a lot of cool stuff. They've got some neat stuff in the works. Please go check them out. Facebook and Instagram, Puget Sound pythons. Not Pudget, like I thought it was for most of my life, until Randy corrected me and said it's Puget.
Look, as far as I know, you only said it wrong once. So it's not that big a deal.
Maybe I've gone back and forth in my mind a lot.
I think that, Jeff Kendra and I just gave you so much shit that
maybe
it's burned in your mind.
There's Henry.
What's up, Hen Dog? What's up, Middleton? I miss that guy. I know he's always here, but I miss him. You know what I mean?
So, you know how off the chain Daytona is going to be this year, dude.
I'm hoping, man, because we're hyping the shit out of it,
Well, Tim Morris is going to be down there, and Middleton's going to be down there. James Oakdale is going to be down there, which that's like
man,
the trifecta.
That is. They're
awesome guys to hang out
trifecta.
with. Oakdale's a trip. That dude's hilarious. Tim Morris is just Tim Morris.
It's Tim Morris, right?
Come on.
Exactly.
Consider myself very lucky to call myself a friend.
I mean, I'm Facebook friends with him, and I still feel special.
I never would have dreamed.
Right?
What are you smoking on tonight?
I'm going full Justin tonight.
I look like a crackhead.
I got a Flathead 554.
Ooh, I don't think I've had that one yet.
Oh, really?
We only carry the 660s, the red ones.
Okay.
We don't carry. We've carried some of the other small ones in the past, but I don't remember if.
Well, I mean, that's definitely a box press Toro size,
Mm-hmm. Andy said they're driving down together. It's going to be a disaster.
Nice.
Nice. So I am. I'm not a big Rocky guy, but that decade.
I haven't had it.
That's a good smoke. It's one of the few Rocky does really well.
Cool, man.
And then I have a Blockhead Aquitaine from Romacraft.
Excellent.
Just so everyone knows, tomorrow I'll be setting up the raffle.
Yes.
Y'all are definitely, if you haven't participated in a raffle yet, this is going to be the one to participate in.
Now wait, hold on. Before you get into it, are we going to do for like gold, silver, bronze, or are we going to do 3 raffles?
What do you mean?
Well, like first, second, and third.
Right.
Or are we going to do winner take all, 1 raffle, 2 raffle, 3 raffle?
I'm not sure I understand.
Like 3 raffles. Take the prizes.
There'll be a grand prize.
Okay.
Second place, third place, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. That answers my question vividly.
So, grand prize is going to be a mixed lot of Romacraft 20 that I put together. A little bit of everything on their portfolio. And then the awesome guys at Venom Life are hooking us up with some awesome stuff. I won't reveal it now, but you'll see it tomorrow in the Snakes and Stogies group if you're in there. I guess we could say it's equipment and apparel.
It is equipment and
it ain't
apparel.
just hats and it ain't just shirts.
It's very true.
Just saying. I'm thinking this one I'm going to open up more slots than the usual 25. I'll probably bump it up to I think maybe 30.
Okay.
Unless you think we should do it differently.
Well, let me ask you this.
And then we can finally bust this guy out.
Oh yeah. Well, so how many little balls do you have for the rolly thingy?
Oh, there's a ton of them.
Okay, because I was thinking about this because it is such an awesome raffle, right? And the money is going to charity, right?
Yes, the beneficiary for this one. So I was actually just eating and staring into the void while my child watched some Barbie cartoon, and I thought 10% of this should go to ASF.
Of course, 100%.
So we'll do that, and then the beneficiary gets the other 90 is going to be HCI.
Okay.
Herpetological Conservation International. So Mike Clarkson, who was on the cover of the last issue of the magazine, that's a group that I'm doing some work with now. Doing a lot of cool stuff. And I also want to get with you about maybe figuring out like a core group that we regularly donate to.
I agree.
That way we're not like only getting money to these groups like once a year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll discuss that and figure that out.
Okay, cool. So I was thinking because 25 is a pretty good odds, right? Even 30, right? And what if we open it up to all the THNs? Is that too many? What if we did 50? What if we did 100? He's lighting his cigar, folks. Bear with us one moment.
That would be a lot. I don't have that many balls. I don't believe.
Okay.
Well,
right,
I mean,
so
like we could do 50. And I was going to let people do maximum of 2 slots.
Okay.
So we can bump it up. It's just every time we bump it up, I feel like we never fill them up. So.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is let's open it up to the entirety of the THN, the Herpetoculture Network. And I say we'll do it up to 50 if you're cool with that.
They have to be in the group.
They have to be in the group. Okay. Well, that's incentive for them to join the group.
So we'll do that. And then do we want to give it a week before we draw a winner? Do we want to give it 2 weeks before we draw a winner?
I say we give it a week.
Okay.
How about this? We'll compromise 10 days.
Well, I want to be able to do the winner on the live, like on a show, the following show.
Oh, so next Monday for Snakes and Stogies, we'll pull the winner.
That way I can do it live and show the ball, and no one thinks that I'm doing anything shiesty.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, rock and roll. Let's do it.
Get my camera right. So that'll be awesome. There's going to be more than one winner this round. Like I said, I'll have to figure out something for the second place person, because if the second and third place prizes are the same, I don't know. We can figure that out too. But basically, we this is the first time we're doing this with Venom Life. Brent on the last THP episode we had him on, he said, let me in. We'll donate some stuff. So I was not expecting them to be as generous with not that they're not generous guys. We got more than we had expected.
Right.
More than I expected. So
definitely more than I expected as well. And let's just be real, is not only are you getting some fantastic smokes if you do smoke cigars. Ryan Cox says, Phil kisses the second place prize to make it more extra. I'll do my damnedest to try and do that for you, Cox.
Oh, God.
But Venom Life Gear hooked it up big time in terms of equipment, as Justin said, equipment and apparel. And it's not all going to one charity. We're giving it to 2 charities.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. We're covering bases in terms of herpetoculture and health and safety and everything, man.
If Venom Life's gonna donate stuff, then I think we should donate to ASF, like they.
Of course. Of course, absolutely. At least the 10% is if we had bought it ourselves.
Still going, yes.
Yeah,
actually, more so, because if it racks up as much as it has in the past, that'll be a decent chunk going to ASF. So
yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yes, it'll be good. So, I was thinking too on the subject of cigars. So, real quick, y'all often go into shops and you see cigar lighters with 2 burners, 3 burners, 4 burners, 1 burner, and sort of what's the difference? Like, what difference does it make? We may have covered this previously. So it does actually serve a purpose as far as which one you pick. I'll tell you why. See, that's a 3 burner, right? So single and double torches, I believe, are best for your Coronas and your Lanceros. So basically, you can overdo it by having a triple or quad torch on a thinner cigar like a Lancero or a Corona. You will burn the ever-living snot out of the sides and stuff, and it might affect the flavor. So when you're dealing with a smaller cigar that you got to light, you want a little more precision, and so you get something like this, like a double, and it makes life a little easier. So if
that was a Zycar.
This is a Colibri.
Okay.
This is that Colibri that I got. That every now and then it's funny. Like my lighters have gotten to the point to where it's like choosing which car to drive as far as which one I want to carry on me day to day. And today it was a Colibri. So yeah. So if you're doing something like a 60 gauge and above, if you even smoke cigars that large, you obviously a double or a single torch is going to take a lot longer to get that lit evenly. So that's when a triple or quad torch would come in handy and make life a little bit easier. So things to consider when you're shopping for lighters. What size are you looking to do? I think if you're doing like a standard Toro, anywhere between 52 and 56 ring gauge, I think a triple or double will be fine. You could do quad if you wanted to. I just find that seems like overkill.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And then speaking of lighters, so I posted that the lighters were supposed to come today, and I went and checked tracking, and they're actually coming tomorrow.
Okay, at least they're in round.
So I went ahead and wrote out all the envelopes and stuff today to send them out whenever they're ready. I may actually have to order a couple more because I'm thinking I may have oversold.
Really?
We'll see, because Hanson and the Australian gang got some, and I kept track of on the spreadsheet, but I may not have added him to that spreadsheet as he paid for it, and so we'll see. I did actually order a couple extra just because I knew there'd be some last minute people. It was only 2 or 3, but I'll have to see what's going on with that. So
okay.
And how does that torch insert for the Zippos? Are you asking like as in how does it, or how is it? Like
I've always had success with them.
Now, the Zippo brand ones are awesome.
Yeah, and I lost them. So now that I know that the lighters are inbound, I'm gonna have to hit up Amazon tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'd highly recommend the Zippo brand. It's a double burner. It's not a single. They're awesome, but the Zippo brand ones. My only gripe with the Zippo ones is you don't have a window to tell how much fuel you have in it. So you kind of have to periodically refill it, or it'll just weigh out. So
yeah,
or run out. I don't know. I can't speak.
I will say this, going back on the topic of lighters. So I'm a Maduro guy. I'm a Toro size guy. I like stuff to be a little more bold. I don't really mind if I burn it a little bit too hot. But a big thing too is keeping your distance. So like I have this cigarette butt in my hand for those of you who are actually watching. So I have 3 burners on this one, and I'm gonna shoot it out like this, and you can see how close it can get before you see it starting to hit. And I'm nowhere even near that flame, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to hold it right on there and scorch it.
Right.
Take your time with it. Pace yourself. Keep some distance.
Ideally, what you want to do, and this is already lit, bear in mind, but when you light it, you don't want to put it straight in there and like really get it in there. You want to toast it. So you want to hold it far away and very evenly, scorch it. Basically, you're wanting to burn it at the lowest possible temperature to where it's still burning. Because the cooler it burns, the more flavor you're going to get. It's not going to taste, quote, burnt, as dumb as it sounds.
Yeah, that is a thing.
You want to toast it. You want to get it burnt evenly. Obviously, we've all had cigars that burned all jacked up because they weren't lit all the way, or bad roll, whatever, it happens. But yeah, I mean, like, this thing's probably a solid 8 inches, 6 inches from the very tip of that flame, and I can see it doing its thing. So you don't have to throw it right in the hottest part of that torch.
Yeah, and for those of you who maybe have a problem, if you're just getting into it and you're noticing that the first third or the second third of the cigar is getting hotter than you'd like, if it's burning hotter, you've got more core temperature than you'd prefer, I've found that that's from having too much heat really quick and drawing too much. So you may want to
smoking too fast.
Smoking too fast, right? You may want to ease up your draw a little bit, at least until you get to like the midway point, and just kind of, pace yourself. Because remember, we're enjoying it. It's relaxing.
And so you'll know when you're burning it too fast, and it's not happening right now, but you'll see this get turned into a sharp point, like a pencil, and that's how you know you're burning it too quick. And so the best way to curb that is just sit it down for 5 minutes, let it cool off, and then you just tap it, and it should go back to being even. Because what maybe a lot of people don't realize is the combustion rates of the different tobaccos does vary. So the Fairlawn and the Binder they don't burn as quickly as the wrapper does. So there are different combustion rates, and that could play a part in that. And so if you are smoking too fast, you'll notice it'll get a really sharp point on it. And just need to set it down and give it a break. Which it may happen for me because I smoke fast, so I'll show it when it does.
Yeah, that's actually what you're going for. Is you want even burn. I got a little excited with the lighter, and that's what that's from. I don't really roll my box presses as much as I probably should when I initially light it. So even though it looked like it was a clean break, so to speak, I may have hit that one side just a little too hot. But leaving it alone, relaxing my drag, that'll kind of fix it in theory.
In other news, I came home. My female corn started laying this morning. If you're in the group, you saw the picture.
Yeah.
Came home. She had finished laying, got an 11-egg clutch that are now in the incubator. So we're looking at the beginning of January, like the first week of January, I believe. Not January, July. Jesus. Very excited about that. That's been a long time coming. Female Baird's is working on her prelay shed, it looks like right now. So hopefully some eggs from those within the next 3-ish weeks or so. Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Did you see the pictures of the Habitat Systems rack?
No, I don't think I did.
Did I send you those?
No, not personally.
So you guys know how I got that awesome rack. But the panels were riveted in. The heat doesn't seem to be cutting on. So I'm like, what's going on? So last night I drilled out all those rivets on the side and took that panel off. And it's a very odd and interesting setup. So there's 6 slots horizontally going up the entire side of the 7-foot rack. And then in each of those 6 slots, there's 2 slots that go in, and each one of those holds a 38-inch piece of flex watt that's 2 inches wide. And those are all daisy chained up the side. So it's the older connectors. I've looked, I can't even find 2-inch flex watt anymore. That's not even a thing now.
Yeah.
So now I have to figure out, I'm going to get a multimeter and check each spot and see if maybe there's one part that's struggling. But I may end up just redoing the entire thing, but I got to see if I can fit 3-inch tape in there. If I can't, then I don't know what I'm going to do. Basically this thing's I'm going to have to modify it myself somehow. And
yeah,
turn into a project piece.
But you know what though? But let's be real. As tedious as the electronics is, and like taking your voltmeter and checking everything and taping stuff off and crimping stuff and making sure that the thing doesn't blow up. That's a pain in the ass, but the build is done. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's you got to remind yourself that like the real work is done. It's the tedious stuff, and then you being educated into it. It makes it a little more meticulous because you know exactly what you want, and you're not getting it exactly how you want it. So I get it. So
yeah, I don't know. Like I sent the pictures to Jen at Black Box, and I showed them to Sean and Tim Morris and some other people and got their thoughts on it. And they were, Jen's consensus was that looks dangerous. So
yeah.
I don't know. Gonna have to play around with it. Why they riveted, and I'm glad I just did the side and not the back, because if I had done the back, I probably would have just wasted my time and completely destroyed the back of this thing. So glad I did the side panel. I'm probably just gonna end up getting some screws or something and like attaching it back that way. Once I get it all sorted out, it's morphed into a project piece. So,
but it's going to be stupendous when it's done.
Yeah, it's just finding the time. Like I only had yesterday off. I work today because I have a 3-day weekend coming up, but I got family stuff this coming up weekend. So it's just, but I got animals in it, and so I need to get the heat in there and get it working. And it's just,
Yeah, I know the feeling.
That old chestnut. What's new down there in Florida?
Well, I hadn't been out in the glades in a while, and started seeing a new lady friend, and she showed an interest in. She's actually watching this right now. She showed an interest, and we went out in the glades last night, and for her first trip out, it was pretty good. Got 5 species of snake, banded waters, brown Florida waters, eastern ribbon, a like 6-month-old cottonmouth, black racer that I didn't try and catch, and copious amounts of alligators and some rambunctious Virginian possums. But so that was good. It was good to get out there. I hadn't been out there in a while, and the weather's been a little cold, a little brisk lately, so not the best. It was actually 64 last night out in the glades, so I was shocked to see that many like Nerodia and stuff out, which I thought was cool. Hoping for a rat snake, didn't get that lucky, but I'll take a cottonmouth, absolutely. Yeah, man, animals are the same. I have that 1.4 Metratus Coleonyx Metratus, excuse me. Those things are savages, man. Like just feeding them, and you can tell there's like one diesel girl, and they're all not. I wouldn't call them adults. They're probably breeder size, but they're still a little on the smaller size, which I kind of like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least gives me a better age range in terms of what how old they are. But dude, just they go bananas for crickets, man. It's amazing. So. Oh, hen dog. Look, man, I'm not gonna field collect a bunch of food with a brand new herper.
You really want to give Mango parasites?
Oh no, we don't worry about that. Mango's fine. Mango has stock in Pandacure.
And Henry, you'll get your damn feeder snakes when you get me my bimaculata pictures.
Oh,
how about that?
How about that, Henry? Justin was so sick and tired of me skirting the bimaculata that he went straight to the horse's mouth. So yeah, same old on my front. I still have that Honduran jumping viper that looks like she's going to explode any minute and has not dropped a single baby slug or anything. At this point, I'm kind of hoping that's just a giant turd, because that would just make my life that much easier. Although it would be pretty cool to have a bunch of baby jumping vipers. They are freaking adorable. And
those things are neat. I feel like there are people. I don't know if they're still there, Henry. That's why I need you to find out. I probably won't even end up buying any because I don't have anything to throw at it right now.
Well, I'll tell you this: the inland carpets are gone. I'm glad I didn't buy them. I'm glad, because yeah,
is what it is.
Yeah.
Henry, how are you gonna ask me if they're still there? You're the one that's there regularly. I don't know. I just go by whatever the website and Morph Market say.
So, but yeah, man, everything else is good. Baby Rink ate another pinky, so that's always good. And life goes on.
Very good. All 6 Cyania are doing fine. Waiting on first sheds before I do feeding trials. I have not had any die, which has been great. I had like 1 or 2 with that first clutch that after they came out of the egg and I got them set up, they were just dead. I think one of them may have even drowned, which is why I was very hesitant to put water bowls in right away. I decided to give them a couple days before I put water bowls in there. So,
okay.
Ben, you need to take pictures of these boyga, man.
But now you just going off of memory, you put all the babies in Sterilite with wet paper towels and mist them down, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they can hydrate if they need to. They're just not going to drown in it, right?
Just like chondros, just keep them wet the first week or so. They seem to take a little longer for first sheds than other snakes. Like I noticed with that first clutch, it took probably closer to 2 weeks before you got first sheds. So,
let me ask you this: going on the topic of first sheds, so maybe it's because I'm old as dirt, but we always referred to first shed as shedding the silver coat. And I had brought it up when I was at Billy's place some months back. Casey was there with us. And I had brought this up, and I was like, oh, wow, that thing's gorgeous. Did it lose a silver coat yet? Talking about like a baby carpet or something. And Billy was like, what are you talking about? I was like, the first shed.
Jungle skin. That's like with imports.
That's imports, though. Yeah. Now, jungle skin's different, and we'll get to that. But it's always the silver coat, because it's their first coat, and it tends to usually be a gray tone or a silvery tone, whether it's because of amniotic juices or whatever. But that's just what we always called it. And Billy and Casey looked at me like I had 3 heads. So
no, I get it.
That might be that should be a poll.
It is like this weird silvery sort of like I know what you mean.
Now, jungle skin I think is amazing because depending on the species, it may take 4 or 5 sheds to see that animal's true colors in captivity. For those of you who don't know, jungle skin is when you have an animal that was field collected or wild caught. It's lived its life in the quote unquote jungle, right? And it's not living on paper towels. It's not living on puppy pads. It's not living on aspen. It's living in the dirt and the muck and the mud or the sand and the rock and the shale. So it's dirty, right? Well, that dirt just impregnates itself into the scales which to a point where it takes 3 to 5 sheds for that animal to really, for lack of a better synonym, shed that dirt off. And when it does lose that jungle skin, oh man, it's a different animal. It's the coolest. I think the best is gaboons, because gaboons, when they come in from Africa, rhinos too. Yeah, any of the big jungle bitis or like tropical bitis, dude, like they're so drab and dull, and you can see the geometric shapes. You can still see the butterflies and the saddles. And then there's that one shed, and you're like,
it's a different snake.
It's a different snake. Yeah.
Cox said, did y'all see the imbricata in Germany? I did not.
I did.
Surprised you did. Where was it? Where was it posted?
I have a little group chat with Burke and Nipper, and Burke was going gaga, and Nipper was like, well, it could be. And me being me, I basically told him, nah, man, that's just an inland Brettles cross. And they did not share my giggle. But it looked cool, man. It looks real cool. Actually, I might have it still. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on.
I didn't hear about it, but I'm not surprised. I feel, I figured it's only a matter of time before someone outside of Australia ended up with them. Obviously, if someone has them, all of a sudden they were smuggled.
Well, so this is the thing: is the guy that posted this apparently is a legit dude. So it's not been determined yet. And Cox, correct me if I'm wrong.
You don't know where he got them from, though.
But supposedly it's some kind of zoological institution. However, some of our other friends in Europe have said that they're definitely smuggled. Not these, but there happen to be other imbricata that are floating around Europe, and even being bred, perhaps, that are just kind of under hush hush because they are. a smuggled animal.
Cockstead Iper said it looks like Imbricata seized imports that the German government said they can sell the babies. So
yeah,
I mean, I feel like they're lucky just to be able to do that. And then Brandon Valentine asked, "Did you guys see Eric's Tandem Bar eggs?" Which I did.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I really hope that I don't. It looked like a pretty good clutch. I think he said there was like one or two that looked like they were not great, but I hope he hatches them all. I mean, that's awesome. Me having the male from Phil, I really want to figure out a way to produce more of them, and whether that's sending him to someone that has a female or me somehow ending up with a female, I want to make it happen. Okay, so Ryan said the government said they cannot sell the adults, but the babies of the pair are free game. So
yeah, here for those of you watching, let's do this. Open that picture there, application window. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can see where someone would think that's like a Brettles cross of some sort.
Yeah. And again, this is an animal that is extremely variable in coloration, but also goes through somewhat of a seasonal darkening, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've seen pictures of incredibly light, almost, pale khaki colored ones. And then, I've seen ones that were dark like this.
All the ones I've seen were dark like that, but I also haven't done a whole lot of searching.
Yeah. So if it's proves out, man, that'll be fantastic,
Yeah, that means sometime in the next decade we'll have some.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
It's going to be tough if it's only that one pair, though, that we're getting stuff from. It's going to be a pretty short line.
Yeah, hopefully someone has some somewhere that are legitimately founded, and we'll see what happens. So.
Oh, I feel like I was about to cover something. I don't remember what it was.
Well, you wanted to talk about the topics you talked to me about earlier. Do you want to just dive into that or no?
Yeah. So Anna Vip recently, let me bring up at least an article so I know what I'm talking about. In the recent news, Anavip has been approved. It was originally, I think, just approved for rattlesnakes, if I'm not mistaken, but it has now been approved for Achistrodon and the other native pit vipers.
North America. Excellent.
Which it's cool. That's good to know. I know, like Crowfab kind of has a rocky track record. So yeah, as of the businesswire.com website, Rare Disease Therapeutics Inc. announces new expanded FDA-approved indication for anti-venom Anavip for treatment of North American pit viper envenomation. Now indicated for the management of adult and pediatric patients with all North American pit viper envenomation, including rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths. So,
rock and roll.
I don't know what you've heard. I've heard that it's good, solid stuff.
I heard it's actually phenomenal stuff. I heard that because of its abilities as well as its price, it gives Crowfab a run for its money, which is not shocking when you see some of the astronomical prices of Crowfab. So,
speak of the devil, Eric's in here, and he
is.
Eric Hernandez, not Eric Burke. He said there's an Imbricata line already in Europe, he believes, which would not surprise me.
Yeah.
I wish I could not tell you what the major difference is between Anavip versus Crowfab and what it's, what makes it so much better. I don't know if you know, Phil, but having another option is good.
Yeah, from what I gathered, it is way less volatile on the subject. I know there's considerably less serum sickness. There's considerably less chance for localized infections, as well as general infections throughout the body. And the price tag's a lot cheaper too. I know that there's a lot of individuals working with several different manufacturers, But I think the biggest deal with that is that it's a non-domestically produced drug and is now getting American recognition, which is a huge deal because that's one of the biggest.
There was an article that mentioned Duracis and Bothrops, so maybe it was used down south.
Yeah.
Prior.
Yeah. And that's a big deal because the hardest thing about anti-venom, Henry and I are going through this right now because we're doing the slow road on acquiring some of this stuff. But the reason why the FDA gives you such shit about it is because it's not made here. And whether it be that they're not getting their cut or that
someone's not getting paid.
Someone's not getting paid, or the fact that there is legitimate medical concerns per United States guidelines, right? We'll never really know the truth in that. But it is cool to see, recognition being given for innovation, innovation in a fairly niche medical realm, So I think it's awesome. I need to get with, I was going to talk to Brent more about those dudes in New York that do all the military contracts. And now for the life of me, I can't remember what they're called. Crap. No. Anyway, yeah, there's a private company who is producing and manufacturing polyvalent antivenom in New York for sale and contract through government entities in terms of the military. So like our guys overseas, our gals overseas fighting the good fight wherever it may be, is not going to be subjected to using whatever they can acquire over there.
Yeah.
So that I think that's pretty cool. We got to get in on that.
I don't know what Cox is talking about. He said, so Bothrops keepers could keep that on hand to watch themselves and not be like that donkey in North Carolina.
Well,
I'm not aware of this.
Prefer not to go down that rabbit hole tonight, but a very common thing with venomous keepers is not keeping their own antivenom. Despite
okay. I thought there was a Bothrops bite in North Carolina.
No. And the problem is that when individuals who keep privately don't keep their own antivenom on stock or local, they're forced to pull that medicine from another institution. So now, I get bit by, the Smith rattlesnake, and no, I don't have my own antivenom. So now it has to come from a hospital, or it has to come from a zoo, or it has to come from a research facility. That now those people
get it there now,
right?
Like
and now
those yesterday,
right? And those people that acquired that drug for possible use in their facility are now denied that because they gave it away to help this schmo who didn't have his own juice.
Mind you, they're under no obligation to give that to you, but they do so.
Right.
They're decent human beings.
Right. I'm in the works with Henry of acquiring our own stuff because we don't want to be like that guy. However, I am very, very lucky, and I don't want to say blessed, but I'm very, very lucky in where I live. We have the Venom 1, response unit that has damn near every antivenom that any of us would need. So I am lucky in that regard to the point where it would not be taken, in theory, would not be taken from a zoo or a medical facility in that regard.
Do you think people in Florida rely on that too heavily?
110%. I'm one of them. Seriously, I'm one of them. And that's something I'm in the workings of trying to change because we rely on it too much. So I'm telling it like it is. I'm guilty of it myself. It's a bad way of thinking. It's a safety blanket that is not a blanket at all, because who's to say that they have what you need?
Yeah.
I don't know what they currently have in the freezer, in the refrigerator. I'm just going off a hunch. Oh yeah, Venom 1's got it. I'm fine. And how many people in Florida don't even know, or let me rephrase that. How many people in Florida don't have Venom 1's phone number saved in their phone? How about that? So it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, and Cox said, or from other private keepers like Nathaniel or Jim from KRZ. But even then, I mean, you're talking about like that's not even like a well, I guess KRZ is kind of a different story. Like zoos, like that's a much smaller operation that doesn't have the budget to just be handing out that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not
Yep.
that bigger zoos have large budgets either, but that was my first thought when that anti-venom went to the guy in North Carolina was, who, I'd be willing to bet money that zoo's probably not going to see a dime back, to replace that. They're not going to get that. They're not going to get compensated for that expenditure. More than
maybe.
likely.
Hopefully they do.
If it were me and I got bit, I would at least be like, look, I'm going to slowly figure out a way to pay you guys back or something. I don't care if it's me having to make donations to the zoo every month. Like, I want to be able to somehow repay you, because that is, those places are essentially saving your life.
They are. They are.
You owe them a life and blood oath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blood debt.
A blood debt.
But the next thing on the order of business was my buddy Elijah Day sent me a message on Friday. It said, "Hey man, y'all should talk a bit about how to approach people about Venomous apprenticeships." And yes. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but we haven't really specifically talked about what the best way is to approach somebody to doing so.
So I'm 100% game to talk about this. Obviously, this is a passion of mine. This is something I've been doing for a very long time. Excuse me. And recently, I've actually had 4 or 5 individuals contact me about getting into Venomous training and having mentorship, or whatever you want to call it. Some people, like myself, I refer to it as an apprenticeship. In the way that I view things, it is more of an apprenticeship than, say, an internship. However, other people like, the RPI, P and Cody and them, they refer to it as an internship. I feel like because of the higher risk of volatile species that the RPI keeps, Cody is less likely to train someone from ground zero, dirt from scratch.
Right.
Which is why I feel it's more of an internship in terms of the individual training with them and working for them for free, essentially, because you're getting your hours. They already know the basics. So, Cody gives his teachings of the more high-speed stuff, the more spastic stuff, the more unique stuff.
No, I think they have a pretty good spectrum. I mean, they have the Bothrops and the Bitis and the, the Mambas.
Right, but yes, they have a very wide assortment of animals. But again, none of that is stuff that you're going to start with a beginner. And that's what I'm getting at, is the people that are getting in with Cody, it is more of an internship because he's not babysitting them 110%. He's making sure that they've learned the tactics that they need. They've been trained appropriately so that in theory, he can walk away and leave them to their work, much like an intern. While as a lot of my stuff is very over the shoulder. And I deal with a lot of people that have never done this, or they've done reptiles for a long time and they have a shitload of bad habits that we have to break. So my approach, as far as more so safety, and it really is a safety class, more so safety and getting them to where they need to be so that eventually I can step back and say, all right, do what you got to do. But it all comes down to communication. The first step is locating individuals that you potentially would want to apprentice with, right? Vet your teachers, right? The same way that a employer would ask for letters of recommendation or ask for a resume, a mentor, they may not ask for that stuff, but they're going to want to know that or see that, right? So you don't have to have a resume of, I worked at Petco for X amount of years. No, you don't have to do any of that, but have communication with one of the people or all the people that you intend to mentor under or mentor with, however you want to phrase it, excuse me. And the other thing too is I won't reply if you message me and say, hey, I hear you give out Venomous hours. How do I sign up? I'm not going to reply to that. And that may be rude. That may be, arrogant of me. But if you're not going to take the time to start a conversation, to formulate a full paragraph of why you want to do this, who you are, what you're about, what you've done, why am I going to invest my time for free, because I don't get paid to do this, to give a helping hand. And I've had a lot of people recently do it the right way, so to speak. And I feel kind of bad about it because for those that are one of those individuals and they're listening to this, I've been backburnering people because Underground is doing a new room in the retail store. My personal collection, I'm kind of doing some rearranging. And I like everything to be correct before we start, just going at it. So I have backburnered a couple people these past couple months, but at the same time, it's COVID, so things aren't, normal. But it all comes down to communication. Striking up a conversation, talking to the person, who you are, what you're about, why you want to do this. And it also comes down to you personally as the student. You got to ask yourself, why do I want to do this? Do I want to do this because I have a general fascination and a love for these animals? Or is it because it's cool, because it's Instagram, because I like adrenaline? And I'll tell you right now, if you are an adrenaline junkie, good for you, man. Rock and roll. Jump out of that airplane, bungee jump off that bridge, go, frolicking naked in the snow. That is not what this is about. This is not about adrenaline. This is not about, oh man, I almost died. That is not what this is about. This is about having a genuine passion and a love for these animals and wanting to work with them and experience having them in your life. And I think that's the first question that any person who wants to get into Venomous needs to ask themselves. And be real with yourself. If you just want a selfie with a cobra, just go to Thailand, man. Take a selfie with a cobra. But in terms of handling and learning and training so that you could do this on your own, so you could do this with your own personal collection, you need to ask yourself those things. And then once you've made a decision, you need to communicate with those individuals that you're seeking to gain their expertise, maybe their wisdom, whatever it may be.
Well, what would be some red flags for, in a potential mentor? What would be some things that if you were looking for a mentor, and what would be the things that you want to avoid in that person? Besides the obvious.
Okay, besides the obvious.
Of free handling douchebags.
So, besides the obvious of free handling douchebags. By the way, Johnny, the knobbies are doing great. I'm super late in the season, so I'm hopefully going to be pairing them sooner than later. But some of them I may not even pair this year just because I've been busy with work and I messed my times up. And a whole other story for another time. But going back to Venomous. So, Ryan Cox says, excessive use of the term bro.
That's actually not a bad measuring stick.
That's not a bad measuring stick, brah. So you're getting into this, right? And you say, okay, wow, I see this guy, Bob, and Bob handles Venomous, and he lives, 20 minutes away from me. Let me reach out to Bob. And Bob's first inclination is to say, yeah, that's cool, man. Come on over. Bring a snake hook. Now, that's not a red flag to me, but I would inquire more and say, hey, that sounds great. What kind of animals do you keep? What are you expecting of me, perhaps? And if they're like, oh yeah, just come over and we'll just clean some cages stuff. A very nonchalant attitude, a very carefree attitude. I'm not a fan of that. I want more. I want to know, what's going on, because I've had several individuals reach out to me and say, hey, I went to this person because I assumed they were a mentor and they didn't teach me a single thing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm actually quite nervous and uncomfortable, but it's the only place that I've been able to find to get experience. That is not the scenario you want. That is not what you want. That is how an accident or an issue is going to happen.
Was it Brent that we were talking about, that someone bought a mamba out in the Pacific Northwest and they were deathly afraid of it, and so that person had to
that was me. Yeah. So and that person obviously had no mentor. That person didn't know what was going on. But I have had several individuals message me and say, hey, I started getting hours in a state that does not have a venomous permit. It's a free open state, but they still wanted the experience. They still wanted to learn all that they could. They went to this person's house who had a considerable collection with a diverse collection. And they were like, yeah, snake hooks there, bathrooms over there. There's paper towels and Chlorhex over there. Yeah, man, just, let me know if you need anything. Bye. And the owner walks out. And that person's like, what do I do? I have no idea. That's a big red flag, because that means that person has no aspirations of helping you or educating
free
you.
Free labor.
It's just free labor. It's clean my cages for free because I don't feel like doing it, and that's not cool. That's not what we're about. Another one is a person who is vague in their descriptions. So if I say to you, we're going to tail this rattlesnake, right? And Justin knows I am not a fan of tailing rattlesnakes, but sometimes it's something that must be done. I say, hey, we're going to tail this rattlesnake. And the guy says, yeah, man, just, open the glass with your hook and, just grab him by the back, pull his tail out, just grab his tail, lift him up, put the hook underneath him. Just make sure you got, balance him a little bit, put him in a trash can.
Watch this YouTube video and copy that.
Right. That's a red flag, man, because that person, maybe it's not their fault. Maybe they have it in their mind that they're conveying this knowledge or conveying this information appropriately, and they're just a bad teacher.
Some people are just not good at explaining things like that.
Right.
I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, I can, in my mind, it's clear as day. But the moment I have to, like the last episode where we were talking about the rear fag stuff, in my mind, it makes complete sense. But for me to explain it to somebody else, it's a nightmare. Like directions. I'm horrible at directions.
Right.
Like giving them to people that are tourists. Like, I know exactly what to do, but when I have to explain to someone, I over-explain, and there's like a bunch of tiny details. Like when you see the Dairy Queen on the left, you're going to make a right. You'll see a Regions in a Wells Fargo. You're going to turn in there, and then it's going to be a slightly hard left around the corner, and it's like I'm bad about it. So
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with those people, but if you're trying to learn step by step so that you don't have a mistake, that may not be the person you want to learn from. Or maybe have that communication and say, hey, you got to be more articulate. You got to be more vivid. I can't, this is very open-ended. You know what I mean? So with a lot of, my people that I train, it's very, very, very step-by-step. And I'm the opposite of Justin. I'm the one who says, you're going to go 40 yards south, which happens to be a right. You're going to see a median that forks, but slightly to the right. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of person that I am. And that doesn't mean that the other mentor is bad or inexperienced, but it could. And there's a lot of people that have a big problem saying no or saying, I don't know. And I've seen it also where potential students or potential apprentices or potential interns reached out to someone that they thought could be a mentor. The person was accommodating, and that person had no business whatsoever training anyone on Venomous, but they still did it because they wanted to look good, because they wanted to sound good, because they wanted to gain reputation as being, oh, I was taught by so-and-so. Well, so-and-so has no business teaching anyone at all. There was an individual that trained with Henry and I who turned out to be not a good person, very, very much a deceitful person. Started off being a friend and gaining trust, and then stabbed everyone in the back. That person,
it's almost like dating.
It is.
Like you got to click with somebody, and you got to understand. Not be afraid to. A, the person ask questions if they have any, and right. B, the teacher be able to be straight up with somebody and say, "Stop! What you're about to do is really not good."
So this person happened to be getting their hours in Florida. In Florida is a very difficult thing to get a license in Florida. And when they got fed up, I'm not going to say they forged their hours, but I am going to say that they got their license way faster than they rightfully should have. And then the minute they had that piece of paper in their hand, started training people. And it was, if you can imagine, I mean, I want to make like a Star Wars reference. Like, imagine, Luke says, I don't feel like finishing my Jedi training. I'm just going to go teach people. Well, it doesn't work like that. You're going to be a shitty teacher. You're not a good handler yourself. And now you're going to teach someone else how to handle mamas and cobras and stuff. No bueno. So see if people are overly eager, and vet people. The same way that I was saying earlier about an employer wants to see, a potential employer wants to see a resume. There is no snake handling resumes, but if you want to learn from me, I would expect you to ask other people, hey, what do you know about Phil? Have you ever trained with Phil?
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who's trained with Phil? Does Phil really, do what he says he does?
See, and even then, though, you kind of have to take it with at least a slight grain of salt, because people's opinions are going to be biased one direction or the other. But I think if you ask enough people, you can get a general idea. If you talk to 10 or 20 people and 17 of those say, yeah, Phil's great, and the other 3 are like, fuck that guy. I think it's pretty much safe to say that it's probably a solid choice.
Right. So just let's do a little recap real quick, because I'm trying to get the thoughts out. You know what I mean? I wasn't quite mentally prepared to do this tonight, but I love it. So ask around, get word of mouth vetting, ask people, hey, have you ever trained with Phil? Do you know anyone who's ever trained with Phil? Is Phil really the guy that people say he is, whether it be good or bad? At the same time, look for the red flags of, wow, this person just handed me a snake hook and a set of keys. What do I do? Or, yeah, come over and we'll figure it out. Well, no, I don't want to just come over and figure it out. I want to know what the hell I'm walking into. Just because they have this beautiful zoo on Instagram does not mean that that's not going to be a rickety old shed in the backyard with, right, no safety protocol whatsoever. So be mindful of that. Also, if you've never worked in a particular scenario, whether it be vision cages, neodesha cages, using Venomous in a rack, drawers and racks that have no visual window or anything, they're solid colored, you can't see what's inside it. These are all things that you need to ask questions about. Hey, what's in that drawer? Having appropriate signage is a big deal. If there is not appropriate signage in a facility, I won't work there, because I don't know what's really in that drawer. I don't know what's really in that enclosure. You see a bunch of plants in there and a water dish. You have no idea if that's a green mamba or if it's a garter snake. You don't know.
Yeah.
So if there's not appropriate signage or appropriate nomenclature, I'm very, very apprehensive. And by appropriate, that could be as simple as, that could be as simple as a piece of masking tape that says Naja Kauthia on it.
It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing.
Right. And don't get me wrong, when I worked in some of the wholesalers, we were rotating animals so frequently that I couldn't have actual labels made. I would go through millions of dollars in label making tape, right? So we would use masking tape or blue painter's tape or duct tape, whatever we had on hand. You put a piece of masking tape, you put 1.0 Naja Kauthia, albino monocled cobra, and now people know what that is. And if I have to move the cage, I can peel the tape off and put on another cage, whatever. So if you notice that a lot of this stuff isn't there, those are some red flags,
Ben said he put in his vacation days for Daytona. So
yeah,
we're going to have a Snakes and Stogies smokers outpost.
We are.
Our little gazebo like we had last year. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm probably going to make arrangements like the week or two prior to make sure that we can reserve a seating area just for that. And we won't have anyone harass us and say,
no one seemed to care last time.
Yeah, but I'm more thinking about having enough chairs and tables.
We copped all those chairs and no one said a word.
Yeah, that's true. It was also drizzly and late. I don't know. Anyway,
we're paying customers, damn it.
We're paying customers, damn it. So yeah, so I think thinking outside the box is how a lot of new people should be looking at it. And that's that's basically the bottom of it. Having communication, noticing what feels uncomfortable is probably going to be, and vetting the people you're learning from.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's a level of comfort that you have to have with that person to where you can ask questions and not be afraid to ask them.
Right.
Like if you're working with someone and you feel like you're going to get sort of judged or criticized because you asked a question, even if it was legitimate, that's probably not the person you want to be with. Like if you're so scared to, ask something for fear of what they might say or think, then that ain't a good fit.
I had a mentor a Venomous mentor who was very vague. He was a brilliant man. He's still around, still does some snake stuff. But he would get perturbed by my overwhelming amount of questions.
But is there such a thing when it comes to this stuff? I don't think there is.
Exactly. And he got frustrated. He got really frustrated one day. And his wife happened to work with us. And she wasn't really a big snake person, but she worked with us. And I guess she talked to him because the next day I'd gone in to do work. And he sat me down in the office. He's like, listen, man, I know I get really frustrated with you and I may treat you like shit sometimes. And I'm really sorry about that. But I really had to sit back and remind myself that I asked the exact same questions that you did at your age, at your level. So keep asking them, because if you don't ask, you'll never know. And that I apply that to life every day. If I'm not bashful, I'll pull over and ask for directions. I don't care. I'm not that guy. I'd rather, if you don't know, if you don't ask, you'll never know. I'd rather know. So think outside the box, try and vet who you're attempting to learn from, and notice the red flags, and have the communication.
Yeah. And I mean, in the age of Facebook now, like we all know the series. Yeah. Come back to the second, but the herb community is small, especially the Venice community. Surely somebody that knows that person, or the 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But Bill said he likes the dating compatibility idea. It's a relationship, which it very much is. If I work with Venomous with Phil, then I'm trusting him with my life, which is very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the Karate Kid. You can have Mr. Miyagi, or you can have the dude from Cobra Kai.
Right.
Sweep the leg, put him in a body bag, or you can be painting his fence.
I can't tell you how many times I've done wax on, wax off type of stuff with people, and they literally will ask me, why are you having me do this?
Be the hook.
And that's it. And it comes down to my old joking saying of, this is not breakdancing. This is a ballet. This is a waltz. There is times where you want it to be smooth and relaxed and methodical. Other times you want it to be very precise and articulate. And then sometimes you got to go from doing a tango and go straight into cardboard box on the ground breakdancing because shit hit the fan. And had you not learned how to waltz, had you not learned the ballet or the smooth, elegance of it, then you're never gonna breakdance, or you're gonna breakdance wrong. You're gonna break a leg, or better yet, get bit and die, and that's no bueno.
Which is so frustrating, especially in the captive setting when it's so easily preventable.
Right. Exactly.
It's a bummer.
Exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've been with keepers that have been doing it a considerable amount of time, whether it be longer than me or not. And I watch them do something and I can see it unfolding in front of me of, oh, this is not going to go the way they want it to. Oh, this is not going to go the way they want it to. Oh, and there it is. And I have to grab them by the shirt and pull them back and say, stop. And then you just give it a second, reevaluate, and then move on to the next thing. And, it's things like that I think make a good relationship. Is that if someone was to grab me by the shirt from behind me and go, whoa, if they're in the room with me, I have to trust them the same way that they have to trust me. And that comes from communication and building that trust.
Bill said it succinctly. He said, I train other things that have very serious connotations, and those relationships and trust are what make or break your name. And then Brandon Valentine asked, what's a good way to get out and find / look for a mentor, like going to a Herb Society, Facebook, local shop, Instagram, ?
Well, I think that the ability of having the internet, it doesn't make it easier, but it allows you to have more ability, right? So I could ask 50 people on Facebook and all of them say no. But if I didn't have Facebook, I may not have known those people even existed, right? So yeah. I would rather try and, extend my reach as far as I can than not do it at all. So I say use the Facebook groups. There is a Venomous Mentors group. I will say that the Venomous Mentors group on Facebook has gotten a little funky over the past couple of years, but there's still a lot of great people in there. There's still a lot of great breeders and keepers and some zoo people and some handlers, just basic handlers. But there's also lists and, that have resources at your disposal, at your fingertips that say, okay, I live in this state, I live in this county, who's willing to help me? And then if there's always the same post over and over again, I live here, does anyone know anyone? And they'll throw 2 or 3 people's names in there. Crap, my name goes on there at least once a month. But the question is, if it goes on there once a month, how many of those people actually message me? And surprisingly, it's very little. I feel like the people that message me the most are ones who follow what we do with the Herpetoculture Network, or are friends of friends, or have, they saw Underground and they called up Underground and said, hey, I'm moving to South Florida. I want to get into Venomous. And they say, well, talk to Phil or whatever. So using social media, I think, is a great avenue, but don't assume that it's going to get you in. Yeah, it's a good starting place, right?
Cox said if they have a Bang and an Aatrox, that's your guy. And then Bill asked, does punctuality matter in a mentor?
Bill, was that a dig at me always being late?
I don't think it was. I think it was a serious question. I don't know. I feel like small stuff like that does, like, actions speak louder than words. And if you have someone that's lazy in small regards like that, then
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm always late to everything, as most of our viewers and listeners know. Bill included. Poor bastard. So sorry about that.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But I'll tell you this, though, going back to communication, if you don't have communication as a mentor or as a student, in terms of, hey, I'm going out of town, and all of a sudden I don't hear anything. Yeah.
He said, I got my serious comments out early. That was a dig.
but it was a good dig, because it segues me to what I'm about to say. So I have limited spots for when I train people. I don't like to take on too many students at once, because I can't monitor them all. And let's be real, it's not enough animals to go around. It's small private collections. So if I have someone come to me and say, hey, I'm going back to night school, I can only show up maybe once a month, I may not show up for the entire semester. Am I going to lose my spot? Can I still have a spot? Those are things that me as the instructor, I have to mitigate and regulate and figure out how I'm going to go about that. But if someone has communication with me, then hell yeah, rock and roll. I had one guy who said, hey, I'm taking new classes. I'm almost done with my degree. I'm going to basically take this semester off, but after the semester's done, can I come back and have my spot? And I said, absolutely. I said, as long as you're in school and you communicate with me, I will never give your spot up. Well, the semester was over. I didn't hear from him. So I messaged him. I said, hey man, it's Christmas. I know you're not in school anymore. What are we doing? Are you coming back or what? Never got a reply. Come to find out that he dropped out of school, got a job with a shipping company, and was basically doing shipping stuff. Now, had he called me up and said, hey, I dropped out of school, I started my own career, things are doing really, really well, is there a chance I can come back later on? I probably would have worked with him, but I didn't hear from the guy for almost a year. And then he messaged me, hey, my schedule finally freed up. I'm going to come back. And I said, no, you're not. You missed out, man. Like, all you had to do is pick up the phone, shoot me a text.
Yeah.
It's been 11 months. You know what I mean? So having that communication, what's up, most? Having that communication is a very, very big deal. And as an instructor, if I'm getting out of work, right, my normal day job, and I'm going over to the facility to do a class, and I'm stuck in traffic, well, me as the teacher, I can't just stroll in. I got to let them know. You know, I got to send out the text, send out the phone call, whatever it may be. You know, and that's a big deal. So if you're going to get hours from someone, and you're showing up at their home or showing up at their facility, and you get there 5-10 minutes early, and they don't show up for 45 minutes, that ain't cool, man. Because your time is as valuable as theirs. And yes, you may be working for free, or yes, they may be doing you a quote unquote favor by helping you out. But at the same time, you're a person too, you know, the phone goes both ways. So as much as I deserve Bill's joke, I'm glad that he said it, because it is a big deal. And Henry knows it the best, because I screw over Henry once a week. Henry knows if I say 3 o'clock, it's 4:30.
That drives me crazy. Bill asked, how many Daytona trips would it take for me to get the 250 hours that Illinois requires?
250 hours. Wow. That's gnarly.
That's rough.
Yeah. Man, Billy's hitting strikes too. Look at that, man.
I know.
Billy, don't you have a shovel to lean on?
I'm trying to think of what the oh, yeah. The third talk, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to cover as far as this goes.
Yeah, I didn't. I felt like I jumbled my words a lot. I was kind of rambling for a little bit there. That's why I kept trying to recap what I had brought up before. If that was helpful, great. If it was a toxic mess, my apologies. But just a quick synopsis. Vet the people you're talking to. Strike up conversations. Have communication. Try and notice the red flags. If it seems wrong, it probably is. And if it seems wrong and you question it and they give you a bullshit answer, it's most definitely wrong. So that's all I got to say.
Next engaging question. So, given that I have corn eggs and the cyana hatching and Baird's eggs soon, made me think, and I don't know, like I know me and Jake have talked about this very early on in THP, but I don't think we've talked about it. And that is, should people breed even if it's just to sort of experience it? Like, it doesn't have to be like any large scale, like say someone gets a pair of balls or carpets or whatever. You know, like if they say I want to breed, what's your take on it?
My first question is why?
Like why if I said, hey, Phil, I want to breed my corns. I've never bred before. I want to do it. And you ask me why. And I say, just because I want to see what it's like.
I'm going to say rock and roll. I'm going to say do your homework. I'm going to say try and do the best job that you can. But above all, remember that if you are successful, it is because of you that you brought all these lives into this world. And if you're not willing to take care of them for the rest of their life, then you need to already have a home for them lined up. Whether it be I'm going to sell them to friends, I'm going to give them to friends, I'm going to, trade them on kingsnake.com, whatever it is, have a plan. And just remember that you're bringing living creatures into the world, and that's your responsibility to take care of them.
Yeah, because we see it a lot. People get a pair of something, they've had it for a very short amount of time, and they're ready to pair stuff up. They're ready to breed them. And I'm always of the opinion, and I'll say it again, make sure you actually enjoy something before you decide to make more of it. Because you see it in chondros a lot. People get adult chondros, pair them, and then like babies come, say they go all the way and they get hatchlings, and getting those established is a headache, not nearly as much of a headache as Alterna are. And that, I mean, some people, like, you can tell people what to expect all day long, but experiencing it firsthand is a different ballgame. But there is, like you were saying, there is sort of a fine line. I learned it with cresteds, overproducing, breeding too many, dealing with too many babies, and telling yourself beforehand, it'll be fine, I'll figure it out. I've been down that road. But if someone wanted to breed just because, we see a lot of people come in the hobby, it's the social media sort of effect where they see everyone else is breeding, so they're like, I should breed too, or there's like this pressure to breed. I don't think anybody should be pressured to breed. I think if people want to try it because they want to see what all the hype is about, they want to go through the experience of, the whole process of it, which is awesome. It's exciting. It never gets old. I think everyone should experience it at least once.
Yeah.
I think it's like you were saying, like, definitely be mindful of the potential of what you might be stuck with. I think Andy Grossman, who we had on the podcast really early on too, he said it best. He's like, when I breed and I produce stuff, I fully expect to be stuck with it.
Yeah.
Which is a good way to look at it. Because if you look at it from and through that lens, that makes you definitely kind of think twice about how many pairs you put together. And, especially like with ball pythons, man, I just think about it. And I've thought about getting a pair of ball pythons just to breed them. And that way, if I'm going to talk smack, at least I have something to back it up, say I actually did it.
Sure.
But the only reason I haven't is because if I do it and it's just some like base morphs, like some pastels or whatever, what the odds that I'm going to be sitting on those a while is probably going to be pretty high.
But you're also looking at it from a point of view of someone who has been doing this for 20 years. And let me rephrase that. You're looking at it from the point of view of someone who's been doing this for 20 years and has the networking and the connections to move those animals, whether it be sale or trade or gift to a good home, whatever it may be. You have the ability to acknowledge and see that. There are certain people that the only reason why they bought that animal in the first place, or those animals in the first place, was because they saw the price tag. They think, well, that's extra money. I can do that. Justin does it. I could do it, And that's not a good attitude to have per se. For the longest time, I was anti-breeder. Unless you, in my eyes, unless you were an actual bona fide breeder, you shouldn't be a breeder. You shouldn't attempt to be a breeder because you're just doing it for the money. And like, that was a bad stigma that I had. And it's because I saw a lot of people that I knew, acquaintances and friends of friends, that were sleazeballs, man. They were sleazeballs, and they bought stuff just because they knew they could make money off of it, not because they appreciated the species or because they had a passion for the animal. And that made me sour about it, But now I'm that guy that you just spoke of, wow, I've been doing this for 25 years and I've bred stuff, but now I'm at the point where I want to really focus on it. I want to do start to finish and monitor everything and document everything and take my time, which is why I'm raising babies up, Mm-hmm. Anybody can just go out on King Snake or Morph Market and buy a pair of adults. Like, that's not the point. So I think if someone wants to breed it just to breed it, and you want to do it, go for it. Have a plan.
Well, having that interest in that species in particular, like bears, rats for me, like Eric was talking about that recently on one of the NPR shows. Mm-hmm. Justin likes bears, and he could sell them for $30. He could sell them for $3,000. Doesn't matter. He'd be into them the same, which is true. I mean, like the corns, those corns aren't going to be anything special, like phenotypically, but they're very special to me. And so it's like one of those things where like, hey, Chris wants some, cool. Box is on its way. Like, it's so hard, the whole relationship of breeding and the financial side of it. Cause people say it's not about money. It's like, if you're selling and you're breeding, even if it's as like a side business, it's a little bit about money.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Because if that's the case, then everyone should just give away whatever they're breeding. If money isn't a thing, that's not the case. Like basically, I know what myself and like guys like Billy and you and pretty much anybody that does this on the side, they just want it to pay for itself at the very least. Like that's ideal for me.
But and again, don't get me wrong. Like I've bred animals that no one knows exists, no one cares. They are literally worthless. But to certain people, they're priceless, and it comes down to the opinion. Everyone, like you said, they want it to pay for itself. If it can make a lot more money, then hell yeah, rock and roll, But again, the person, going back to the original question, someone who just got a pet corn snake and then someone got them another one and they're like, you know what, I want to breed these. Go for it. Just remember,
it's an awesome experience.
It's an awesome experience. It's a hell of a story, right?
Yeah, it's
exactly.
Cool to see it all. It's cool to see the process of it all. And like this morning when I woke up and checked on that female. She was laying eggs.
Yeah,
like literally, she had only popped out 2 of the 11, and so like I sat there and watched her for a few minutes, and she was, I guess she had kind of put everything on pause because she knew that I was hovering over her. But like that's something you don't see every day. Like it's not something you're going to go out into the woods when you're herping and find. I mean, you could, but the odds are pretty slim. And so it's like you get to see that in captivity, and yeah, it may not be the same as seeing in the wild, but still, it's like I remember as a kid when my dad was breeding corn, just like sitting there and watching the females just pop out eggs, and it was like just the physics of it and how they can pop out something like that. Same with human babies, it's like it's nuts, and it's cool to experience. I think everyone should experience. It's just like we're saying, be prepared and understand sort of what you're signing yourself up for. And that's I've personal experience. You can have a million people tell you you're going to regret over, pairing too much, but you have to experience it yourself before it clicks. That's what it was for me with Cresteds, dude. Like woke up one day, saw that I had like 60 babies that I had to feed, and Pangea ain't cheap. And there's a giant thing on my ankle. Realized like this was a really bad idea.
Yeah. It creeps up on you and you don't realize it, So, but yeah, I say just have a plan, and as morbid as it sounds, if your plan is to give them away to a local pet shop, go for it. If your plan is to honestly, you just wanted to see if you could do it and you want to euthanize them all, at least you have a plan. I don't agree with it, but at least you have a plan. Have an idea of what you're going to do. And if you are going to keep them and hold them back, as we say, and raise them up, remember, you need all those enclosures. You need all that food. You need all that electricity. You need all that time. Those paper towels, that aspen bedding, that cypress mulch, whatever it may be. So just be mindful of it. Take it into consideration. And we're not talking about counting your chickens before they hatch. We're talking about thinking about, okay, what if I do hatch all those?
The bigger picture.
Right, the bigger picture. Yeah.
Looking down the road. And I try to, like, I definitely have things planned for within, the next 2 or 3 years with what I have, and that's assuming that everything's going to, nothing drastic is going to happen to my collection or those animals in particular between now and then. But I definitely have sort of a, goalpost down the way. And I think that's good to have.
Yeah.
But like the people that do, there are people that breed ball pythons, there are people that breed chondros, and they do it mostly because, the money, like, and that's fine. As long as those animals are taken care of and you're doing right by them, whatever. Those people do exist. It's the people that hop in and get their Craigslist pair and think that their 2 normal balls are gonna, I'm gonna sell these, I'm gonna make a bunch of money. It's like, probably not. Yeah. And I don't think those, a lot that stuff gets talked about a lot. We talk in a lot of generalities and stuff, which I don't particularly like to do. Kind of like what Eric Burke has talked about. I try to be cognizant of it.
Right.
I don't think that person exists in the numbers that we think they do. I think we see it happen, and it's almost always newer people that are coming into the hobby. They see some YouTube dudes selling, making world's firsts, and this is how much it's going to sell for, and they without understanding sort of the whole process of it all and what it all really entails and the investment, dare I say, quote unquote.
Sure.
they see it on the surface. They don't see the rest of the iceberg under the water.
And there's nothing that says, how do I phrase this? We're like Justin said, we're being very generalistic, and the people that we're speaking ill about are very few and far between for the most part. However, I find that a lot of the people who want to breed, everything we just said about having a plan, thinking about the bigger picture, they don't realize it or think about it until it's too late, and they have eggs in the incubator, and they're like, oh my God, or they all hatch out, and they're like, oh wow, I didn't expect them to hatch out. Okay, what now? So like, just have that bigger picture, have the more, grandiose mind.
But it's also going to depend on sort of what you're talking about too. I mean, a clutch of baby Alterna, baby Cyanea, baby Chondros, baby Candoya is going to be a vastly different experience than a clutch of corn snakes.
Yeah,
so.
Well, how about this? So, I have my water pythons.
Mm-hmm.
So I recently was messing with them, and I'm like, man, they are growing, and I am not power feeding them at all, but they're growing, and they're growing really well. And I thought about it, and I was like, man, I want to breed them. It's a goal of mine to breed these animals. But I realized that by the time that they're of mature age to breed, and I'm still living where I'm living, I'm probably not going to breed them. I'm probably just going to, honestly, to be blunt, I'm probably going to give them to Billy, because I know that it's not fair to the animal to have subpar conditions because of my housing arrangement, and breed it. And then at the same time, if I get a clutch of, say, 20 eggs, those are big babies, those are big eggs. Now I got to house 20 of them because I may not sell them. Yeah. I may attempt to give them away, and nobody wants them. So that's something I needed to take into consideration. And I'm still 3 to 5 years out, but that's honestly my game plan at this point.
You got Billy excited.
I know, and Billy should have known that. Billy knew that. But I look at it this way: is that
I feel like he's just our like garbage disposal, so to speak.
No.
We have these things. Give them to Billy. He'll like them.
No.
He'll work with them.
Billy has the mind to do it correctly. Billy has the resources to do it correctly, and Billy has a gift. That's why he's so good at what he does.
Well, no, it's just, it always happens to be species that he's into that he somehow ends up with from us.
Yeah, well, it's his fault that I even like the damn things.
Watch out, Billy felt an emotion.
Yeah, and Billy puts on the raise. He says, my plan has worked, Philip.
But he said it seems like people sometimes get into the hobby just to breed instead of learn the species first and then make that decision. Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, that just falls into that whole, like, I saw it on YouTube, I want to try it, and not knowing the fine print of the rest of it. But the Candoya thing, like Bill said, I'd love to work through one of those Candoya litters that those import females drop. It would be awful, but it would be an accomplishment, I think. And that's one of those things where if you're in the hobby long enough, or you're in it long enough, and you have, you want that challenge, and you want something that's not going to be so easy as Papuan carpets or corns or something that is going to eat right off the bat, no problem. Like I enjoy the chondros, I enjoy that challenge, I enjoy the Cyanea, I enjoy that challenge. The Alterna, it's fun for a little bit, and then after like the 6th week of them not eating, it starts getting a little frustrating. But yeah, I mean, I think you get to a certain point in your herpetocultural journey where you want something that's a little more challenging. You want something that's a little tougher, and I really like having, like I've said before, I like having the really simple stuff that I don't have to really worry about, that I can just sort of enjoy, which I enjoy the other ones too, but it's just nice to have something that's like, I can just drop a pinky in there. It's going to eat. I don't have to worry about it. I know it's going to eat. I'm not going to have to, is it going to die? Is it going to be dead in the morning when I come in to check on it? So
yeah. Dude, yeah. I have a pair of Mexican black king snakes that were gifted to me, and for all intents and purposes, I'm not enthusiastic about them, but when I throw the fuzzy in there and they just go bananas, I'm like, yeah, that's right. And I'm going to breed them. I'm going to have fun with it, and if I got to give the babies away, which I probably won't because people like them, they're a fun snake, so be it. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it I guess I'm kind of doing it just to say that I did, and have the adventure of it, but again, that's 3 to 5 years out. So long haul.
And it is sort of a peaks and valleys thing,
Sure.
like there's no low, like having, baby chondros hatch out and then you come in and find that 2 of them died for some reason, that was out of your control. It could have been an organ thing, who knows, whatever.
Right.
But then the feeling when you get those babies to eat on their own for the first time, that's the peak, that's when it's this is awesome. And sort of I don't know what it is about it. It's just like I said, it's that challenge, it's that puzzle that isn't so easy to just solve.
Sure. Yeah.
Egg eaters, that's another good example. Bill said, I see people producing egg eaters and I love mine, but that one scares me. That's also partly why I want to put my efforts towards it, which I've thought about that too. Like, I don't ever see anybody producing egg eaters, but I feel like they're probably not that difficult to breed. It's those babies and finding something that they can eat at that size. Like, I mean, you're talking finch eggs at least, I would think.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I don't know if there's anything even smaller than finch eggs. So,
yeah.
And that's, if you're equipped to deal with that kind of stuff, then I mean, go for it. If you know, but it's knowing what you're getting yourself into and signing yourself up for before you.
Yeah.
Like those gravid Candoya that come in. Me and Rob Stone were talking about that a couple weeks ago. Like, people get them and they know they're gravid, and so they buy them and they think they're going to get all these babies and it's going to be awesome because I'll get them all raised up and I'll sell them and stuff. And then they get them and they can't get any of them to eat, and it's like a real challenge. And it is kind of disappointing because people kind of get them and it's like, oh, either the female died or half the babies died. We can't get any to survive. Whatever. It was fun.
Yeah.
Sort of that free prize sort of mentality of.
Right.
I didn't have to pay for it, so whatever happens, happens.
Or better yet, I won the big giant teddy bear at the arcade, but how much money did I have to dole out? It's kind of the same concept too. Bill puts up a good thing with the anole-sized eggs. I knew someone locally that did rhombic egg eaters for a long time, and those babies, he had a freezer full of frozen anole eggs.
Really? How do you get them?
Searching through people's yards.
I've never seen anole. Like, I've never come across anole eggs.
Oh yeah, and it got to the point where what he would do is it was a starter, right? So he had a handful of eggs, maybe 15, 20 eggs, whatever, in the freezer, and he would start with the frozen thawed anole egg, and if it worked, great. He would try another one, but the goal was to get them on liquid quail egg.
Yeah,
and they would drink it like a milkshake. And then once that happened, they put some weight on, do a little more, add some the protein powder and vitamin powder and all that stuff, and get them going that way. But that's something that I'm not willing to take on.
Yeah, and I guess that wouldn't be so like if for me, the Cyanea having to assist feed mouse tails, like to have baby egg eaters where I'm having to take a very thin syringe and feed them via that some egg until they get up to size. Like, that's not that difficult for me because I'm kind of used to having to do that with some species already. But someone who's just got a pair of egg eaters at a show and had them together and somehow ended up with eggs and they decided to incubate them, and then realizing that the babies are just going to be kind of a giant pain in the ass. I can see where that frustration, and it's got to be really frustrating too to have babies that just you can't do anything for them.
Sure. I've been there, man. I've been there too many times, and I take, you can ask Henry, like, I take pride in getting small arboreal stuff to eat, but like, even me, man, I'll lose my patience. I'll run out of that commodity, so to speak, and that's where, and Henry does the same thing. Henry will be working with a baby squam for 15, 20 minutes, and he'll be like, dude, I'm done. You got to take this. And I'll take it, and the thing will eat in 5 seconds. But I wasn't doing anything different than Henry. It took that extra 5 seconds, or whatever it is. Another thing, going back to egg eaters, zebra finches. I know people that kept zebra finches for years. They didn't give a shit about birds, but those things would pump out 2-3 eggs every month, and you amass enough of them. Just something, thinking outside the box.
That was my experience with the chondro babies. There were nights where I'd get so irritated that I'd be flipping off the rack as I was walking out the room and going, "Fuck y'all, man."
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just a persistence thing, and knowing how to assist feed the tails and stuff is a it does help, especially if you have some that are just not coming around. At least it gets something in them. I know a lot of people are like, well, assist feed whole pinkies or pinky heads, and it's like, I've tried that. It does not. It never works out for me the way it does for everybody else, and maybe I'm just doing it wrong. But tails are a lot easier, and yeah, they may not be as nutritious as a whole pinky or pinky head or whatever, but at least it's something to get that digestive system going, and it's it's a placeholder at the very least until they finally come around.
Yeah.
It's easy now. You get used to it, and you grab them. You got a tail in them in 10 seconds, and you just drop them, and it's over with.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're going on a departure from the original conversation, but like now imagine you're doing, dangerous venomous, right? Baby cobras. Like, I worked for an individual that at one point had arguably the largest collection of breeder albino monocles in the world. We're talking 23 or 24 adult breeder female monocle cobras. And every year, each one of those would have a full clutch. So we're talking
those double clutch.
If not that I saw, but yeah, not that I saw. Yeah,
that kind of surprised me. I would think cobras would be popping out clutches like crazy.
I mean, I'm sure they might of certain species, but at least the monocles that I worked with, and we were really good about making sure that we weren't breeding too much, But you have 300 baby cobras, and none of them want to eat a pinky. So we would try all kinds of ulterior motives. Start off with a frozen thawed minnow or silver sides, and then you roll your pinky in tuna juice or roll your pinky in silver side juice, and that would usually work pretty well. I recently had my female Rincals that passed, and she ate a pinky out of the gate. And this is a captive bred animal that was already established, already eating. And the first meal I gave her a pinky, scarfed it, and then never ate again. And I tried fish scenting, I tried tuna scenting, I tried silver side scenting. I even went so far as to procure African reed frogs of appropriate size, and nothing. So, the cards were against me, whatever. And that's the running joke is, that's why mom has 20. Yeah. Some of those babies just aren't going to make it,
what's funny, speaking of that, like Thomas got one of those Cyanea, and that was the one that ate whole pinkies, frozen thawed, drop fed front out the gate.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had to put a tail in that animal. Ate like a champ every time I put food in there. Send it to Thomas, and of course, it stops eating.
Yeah, but I mean that's also the stress of the transport, new smells, new temperatures.
Yeah, but the other two went to Terry Burwell.
Yeah,
and he's got them eating regularly now too. And those were the two that were difficult. So it's just funny how it flips like that.
No offense to Thomas, because we love Thomas, he's our boy, but Terry Burwell is a savage. Let's be real. If somebody's going to get a funky ass coluber to eat, it's going to be him.
Well, that's the nice thing too, is Terry lives up in the upstate here in South Carolina. He's near Thomas, so if Thomas has any issues, I know that Terry can at least, he's within the physical proximity of each other, and he can help him out if he needs to. So
yeah.
Because I can only do so much over the phone, But
yeah, of course.
That's just like Alterna, just like the Chondros. You get the baby boyga going, they're rock solid. It's just getting them there,
Yeah.
Unless it's a male. See, there's Thomas.
He's
Thomas. Working.
And Bill, they do their live bearing, and the litters are typically between 8 and 20. Usually they have been increased up to, I think, 30 in some, like 28 Rincals.
Oh.
What's crazy is that this is a species of snake that is almost exclusively endemic to South Africa, Lesotho, and Swaziland, right? But there is a small population on the southeast border between Zimbabwe and Mozambique. And there's got to be some kind of land barrier where they're at that does not let them get into Mozambique per se. They're strictly on the Zimbabwe side. But the animals that are on record from coming from Zimbabwe only produce 4 to 6 offspring, or 4 to 7 offspring, which I find very, very interesting. So I got to do more research and find out why that is.
Do they get those in? Are those native to Botswana? Are those
No.
in their range? No.
No.
I was gonna get Botswana Paul to write an article on them if they were.
No, say that shit for me, man. Let me write it.
We got a guy in country though. Like that's the thing.
Yeah. So get a different guy.
He's the freaking man.
He is the man. He is the man.
I tried to get him on here. I tried to get him on the podcast. He's like, I don't know, man. I was like, okay.
Well, save that article for me after I make the pilgrimage and catch them on my own.
Fair enough. Let me find Iper.
Yeah. Get Scott up in here.
Yeah, and it's nice too because sort of with these Cyania, I've only had the 2 clutches. It's nice to learn something new as far as that species in particular. Each clutch, I'm tweaking and whittling it down and fine tuning things. It's stuff like that, like trying out different incubation methods, trying out what the guys in Europe are doing, and sort of seeing what works, and then trying it with other species. Like I'm doing those corn snake eggs very similar to how I had the Cyania. The difference is there's the APS, the light diffuser, and then instead of having a clump of the spag on one end of the box, I just spread that out and put the eggs in that, like on top of it, just so they wouldn't, roll around and stuff anytime I had to check them. So I'm going to see if that, what the difference is with that. And that's just nice because it's sort of raised up and so air can circulate,
So, all right. So just recap. Oh, Scott's here.
In the snake building and everything.
Hey, and we got Wi-Fi in the snake building.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm in here dealing with fucking baby
be a real
snakes.
YouTuber and free handle one of them there mulgas.
You want a free handle mulga snake? That's irresponsible. I'm not going to do that.
I'll give you $20.
Look at that shirt.
You give me $20. I'll get a fucking mulga out, but I won't be doing it with a fucking. I'll get out a fucking diesel of a mulga if you want a diesel of a mulga out.
Bill asked
Is that what you want? Is that what you want? You want to say diesel?
Yeah, go for it.
You guys have got pussy ones over there. All right, give me a sec.
Bill, we have had people turn down being interviewed, or at least I have.
And see, you use these fucking things too.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, look at that.
Is that one of those cameras they use when you get a colonoscopy?
Endoscope.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Bill, we've had a few people turn down being interviewed, and it's the same thing. It's just it's just not their thing, and that's fine. I'm very no pressure with it. I ask people if they tell me no, cool. I don't even ask them again. I just leave it be, and I tell them if they ever change their mind, hit me up.
Don't you try and bite my face.
The headset is really what sets it off.
It is.
Is it? Is that what it does? There we go.
Let's
see if we can do the whole fucking. God. So that's a mulga snake.
You're goddamn right it is. Look at the color.
So, do you find the bigger ones like that easier to work with than the pygmies?
Oh, the pygmies aren't too bad. This thing's is every bit of 7 foot.
No kidding.
Gorgeous color.
It might try and eat the fucking camera because it'll try and eat anything. And because it's so fucking snake orientated. There we go. Look at that, the big wanker fucking shot. Let's make it look as big as we fucking can.
Oh yeah, forced perspective from hell. I love it.
You look like a midget.
That's all right.
I mean, but seriously.
So that thing's about as what? So this thing's rounder than a Coke can. Right, and the problem is the reason they're so fucking dangerous up here is the same thing why king cobras are dangerous in captivity in a lot of ways as well, is because they're usually in a building full of other fucking snakes. So this thing's sitting there going, well, I'm just in food mode the whole fucking time.
I'm surrounded by food.
So that's a St. George. I'll pull out a little Darwin.
Henry wants you to pull out a coastal taipan.
Oh, I can pull out a coastal type if he really wants.
Scott, I got to tell you, man, that's one of the best looking Mulgas I've ever seen. The thing's awesome.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm concentrating.
Yeah, shut up, Phil.
Come here, darling. There you go, Henry.
Oh man, that thing's dark.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think I've ever seen one that dark.
So that's a black Tully.
That's crazy.
Oh, I love that white face.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's the fucking Grim Reaper, dude.
I love it.
There we go.
Such a lean animal. Oh,
I like those gauges we're looking at too.
dude, those cages are fucking stellar. I've been looking at them the whole time.
Yeah, and now I get to do the whole wanker thing with fucking cages in the background and shit like that. No?
Yeah, you do.
Um,
You love it. Shut up.
I
Here's
love
a
it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't say I didn't love it. I didn't say I didn't love it.
Scott, how
I'll
do
get
you
Old
prefer
Faithful.
your hooks?
This is Old Faithful here. See how many fucking jerry-rigged fucking zip ties are on this fucking thing?
Looks like Billy Hunt made it.
So this thing here, I've had this hook for 25 years, and I snapped the end out of it one day. Well, I didn't snap the end of it. A saltwater crocodile snapped the end of it. And so...
That's like the most Australian statement I've probably ever heard.
Yeah.
But it's my favourite hook, right? And look, if you look all the way up it, I don't know if you can fucking see it, but there's all these little cuts and scratches and shit like that where things have bitten this hook instead of bitten me, I suppose. And fucking teeth marks in it everywhere and all that sort of shit. And
Awesome.
anyway, so better off on the hook than my hand. So, but it's my favourite hook. And so I was like, oh, well, the only way I can fix it is I'll just put silicone on it, and then I'll put zip ties to hold it together, and then put more silicone over the top, and it still works fucking treat. It spins in your hand. It's fucking great. Great little hook. So,
Awesome.
you know. Give me you.
Parenti shirt. Jesus Christ.
I know, right?
It's a Flabby Rufus, but anyway. Give me you. So that. So there.
Is that a
There
pigment?
for a minute. Be nice. No, that's a baby Australis.
Oh, okay.
From the top end. Right. And these are the ones that get to 10 feet long.
Wow.
These are the 10-foot jobs.
And how old is that one?
So this is only a fucking little baby. But that's all right.
Good God.
12 months old. But I don't feed the shit out of my son.
Yeah.
So, no.
I don't know how you guys tell
But that's
them apart,
not-
man. All those.
That's the other thing you hear people talking about.
All the brown snakes and stuff. You showed me a picture of them. I probably couldn't
Yeah,
tell
you
which
guys
one
tell
was
apart
which.
all the fucking... Yeah, but you guys can tell apart all the bloody different little fucking colubrids and shit like that. You know, I'd have two bloody hopes in hell trying to work out who's who in the zoo there. So,
Yeah, he's got a point. He's got a point.
I'll pull out Scarlet. Hang on. Scarlet's a good friend. Scarlet's gorgeous. It's the one snake that you guys always want.
A chondro?
Nah, better than a chondro.
Scott said, fuck that.
Mind you, though, I've seen fucking turds that are better than chondros. So,
Those are fighting words.
My man.
come here, Scarlet. Come here, darling. You're gonna be good, aren't you? Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Stop that. Stop that. Stay there.
I would
Fucking
really
twitchy
love
head
it
on you today.
if you don't get bit on this live stream, Scott. That'd be great.
Oh, I'm not gonna get bitten. See, I just said the naughty words too.
You did,
Don't get bit.
right? Oh, she's great, man. Now, you didn't breed her this year, did you?
Nah, she didn't get bred this year.
Okay.
Gave her a year off.
Okay. Oh,
She's just real twitchy because of food at the moment.
right. Awesome.
How could you not want these things? They're like an indigo, but better.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a indigo with a racer personality.
Yeah.
That methed out twitchiness.
I like it.
Now I'll pull out one other thing for you. What's the biggest adder you've ever seen?
Oh, geez.
I haven't seen any big ones.
Probably 15 to 20 inches, maybe.
Yeah, all right. Give me a second. How does 36 sound?
Wow. Let's see it.
And so you can't just say it, can you? You got to fucking sell it. So give me a sec.
Are you allowed to keep koalas over there legally?
I don't want a fucking koala. Silly fucking things. You know they're nasty fucking things as well.
They seem like
they're a horrible thing to
like
work
sloths, with. Like they could really mess you up if they wanted to.
Hey, settle down, you.
Their eyes creep me out.
What, sloths or koalas?
Koalas.
Fucking paper. Death adders. Don't fucking mix. Me, you.
Wow.
Now, you go on there so I can support your body. There, you're flipping the fuck out.
It is a chunk. Look at that.
There we go.
Which species is that?
So that's a fucking death adder.
Yeah,
that's
which...
Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd mentioned that they get the largest, right?
Apparently.
Yeah, these are the largest. That's a...
Oh, look at those bands, man. Hawkeye. Those bands are just awesome.
Get up there. There you go. There's a head. There's a fucking head on that.
Oof.
That thing will smash a medium rat. No dramas at all.
No kidding.
Awesome.
So, fun and games. In you go. Good way to hold snakes if you can use your bin lid to help pick them up and put them on that. That way it's nice and safe and you don't have to try and hold them in your fucking hand. I don't know. You want to say Welser?
Of course. You took the words right out of my mouth. How are those babies doing?
So, I haven't fucking shed yet. Fucking thing.
How long typically before they have their first shed?
Usually within a week.
Okay.
Smells awful fucking regurgy.
Ew. That's a very, it's like one of those smells you will never forget. Like you will always know.
It's the sweet death.
Yep.
Oh, I can think of other words for it. It's fucking horrible. Disgusting.
Oh, man.
Fuck, all I can smell is fucking gurge.
Look at that animal. Jesus. That head.
Yeah.
Now, is that the exact specimen from the book or no?
Yeah, that's the one from the book.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's the one on the cover of the book.
Love it.
It's Ty's favourite snake, man.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
You got any night tigers in there?
Let me just grab it out. So that's the one of the... What do you want to say?
You got any irregulars?
What did you... Oh, yeah, I can do that in a second.
Yes.
I can do that for you in a second. So how's that for a floody?
Wow.
Ooh.
Nice.
I feel really bad for the people that are going to be listening to this and not watching it.
Well, that gives them incentive to watch.
It does. You guys can just fast forward to like the hour 45 mark, and that's when all this.
What did you say? Irregularis?
Night tiger.
Right. Yeah, I'll make that happen in 1 second. Or we'll just pull out. So you guys have to keep talking about rugosas, right?
Right.
And
right.
how you got nice Gijaras over there and shit like that.
Yeah.
Nice according to us, apparently.
Right,
It's
right.
different over there.
I know I was walking into an insult there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Look at that thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure you can really see that.
Dude. Look at the tipping and that cream belly. Oh my God.
They look like they're quilted almost, like someone knit them like the pattern.
Yes. It's honestly, it's a snake tapestry. Oh,
yeah, it's really a fucking nice snake on.
Awesome.
So that's a little Gijara. Yeah, do you? See, Systema tubs, mate. Lots and lots of Systemas, Phil.
Yeah, man. I was in Walmart today and I was going to grab some more, but they were all gone. I think people cleaned them out for the Easter holiday.
Oh, dude.
Dude, that thing's on fire.
That thing is flaming on fire.
Well, the name means fire, considering that's Pyrrhus.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember that.
Is that a Midwest Tongs neonate hook?
Yeah, so that's one of the old style Midwests.
Yeah.
From about 20 years ago, that one.
Awesome.
So I've got two of the Midwest jobs.
Did you get the double-sided one thinking it would be good and then you snapped the one side off? Because that's what all of us did.
Nah, that's the other fucking the ultralight mini hook. So that's the deep one.
Right.
And then I've got the shallower one there. So
yeah.
That one there is the newer one. Not a big fan of it. I prefer the old one.
Do you prefer the wider versus more narrow in general with hooks?
So my favourite hook that I use in the room is that one, which is stainless steel. Right, but I'll show you my field herping hook. Where the fuck is
it? Matt Mo says, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
So this is my field herping hook. Right?
God.
So instead of being, there we go. So it's two pieces of 8mm stainless steel rod welded together. Right? Fillet weld all the way down, across the back, tacked at the top. Right? And then fillet welded on the inside. Then it's got a chamfer. Oops. So you can see how it's got a rounded chamfer here.
Yes.
All right. And then it's soldered. It's soldered into a golf club handle. Right. That thing there, fuck, it almost picked me up, and I'm a fat bastard. So it's as strong as hell. Right. But it's fairly thin. Right. So you can see how well my finger sits inside that.
Right.
Because it's got that rib on it, when you hook up a brown snake or something like that, it actually catches on the scales a little bit and retards the movement a bit. So you get half an extra second when you're dealing with fast-moving elapids. So there's a little bit more drag on it, and it works a fucking treat. So
it's probably got a decent weight to it too, especially for flipping stuff. It's got a little more heft to it.
Well, I reckon you could fuck somebody up if you hit them over the head with it.
It's also a weapon.
So, you know. But it's only got the handle is only about 80 inches. So it was at 30 inches from tip to end. So it's not a huge hook, but it also means that you don't have that huge counterbalance when you're trying to lift something up as well. I mean, you can still lock your wrist in halfway up, so at least you can pick something up with some decent weight. But you know, it works a fucking treat. So using that in a hoop bag and happy days.
Bill said, I think it's a sign of the level of professionalism that we all see that run of absurd snakes and then nerd on tools.
We should know.
I always want to know what people are wanting. Like, I'm always so curious about what people prefer in hooks.
Yeah, I can confidently say I've never seen a field hook like that, and I honestly want one now. So
it's honestly, it was the best thing I ever did.
So you did all the welding and the
soldering. I just welded it up myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just welded it up. Fucking took me about half an hour. So it's not exactly hard. Now, you want an irregularis, don't you?
Yeah.
Uno momentos, por favor.
It just went from 6
That's
to
the
midnight.
extent of my Spanish, by the way.
Well, you got to make them full screen for this one, Justin.
I do.
So, don't try and bite me, you fucking shit in.
Yeah, watch. Of all the stuff he
All right, so this looks like absolute.
he gets bit by the fucking boiga.
There we go.
Ooh, that one's
There's a
dark.
shitty night tiger because it's coming up for a shed.
That's a fucking
That'd be
pine
like
snake.
that.
Oh man, that
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is screaming.
So that's horrible because it's come up. You can see it's in blue. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah,
The phone just bit the fucking camera. Stupid thing. Oh,
bless you.
bloody hell.
He's allergic.
Don't you try and do that. I was half thinking about getting out of Parenti, and then I thought, no, I'll get fucking bitten again on camera.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was fucked up. Oh, there's a brown fruit snake. Give me you.
How many do you have?
We just got a pair. Fucking things. We bred them, and we fucked the eggs because I didn't realise she was gravid.
Oh.
Yeah. Fucking. Hey, don't you do that. No. That's my fingers. No. Fucking arboreal snakes.
He says, I just
Who
want to
decided
climb a
it
little.
wanted the hook better than I did? There we
Be
go.
the tree.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the candy cane.
Next time you come to the States,
Cool,
just
all right.
shove some of those in your underwear and bring them on over.
No.
Oh,
there we go.
Bands on that.
So that's a half decent one.
Is that the male or the female?
That's the girl.
Yeah. Smoking.
So
Bill
someone
says,
take the fucking hook off you.
Bill says to hold off on any of the monitors until you go on his lizard podcast.
Yeah, well, shoot me the invite, Bill, and I'll make it happen. So,
You know, it's crazy. Those have a ton of variability, you know, but just in Australia, just between like the night tigers, and then there's some other ones that don't have nearly as much banding, because I was on iNaturalist getting a bunch of photos and stuff for my little Boiga log that I have, and seeing the variation across Australia is just it's really
yeah.
crazy. You have some that are
Well,
that
there's
look more
three.
like the Flavicens, and then you see, you know, those guys, and
See, now it's behaving like a fucking boy. Silly
Oh, yeah.
thing.
bite and run.
Oh, it's about to shoot off or shoot all over me, so it can go
Yeah.
back. In you go.
That's what mine do. Just take a couple swings, and after I think you're gone, take off. Those baby Cyanea, it's a trip how pugnacious they are. Like, they have no fear. Those little suckers will square up to you 9 times out of 10. It's pretty adorable.
Don't you bite. These things are fucking a bite and run too. We haven't seen one of these before. Hey, get back here. Can you see that? No, I'm not sure if you can see that. You probably can't see the yellow spots all over it.
Yeah, it's pretty blurry, man.
What is it, a tiger?
Stop for a second. That's a butler snake. Pseudechus butleri.
Another species of Pseudechus I didn't know existed. Look at that.
These are fucking bloody things too, eh? They keep flying. Nice snakes though.
Yeah, it honestly doesn't look like it's giving you that much of a hard time.
Might be the way that I'm handling it too.
Yeah.
There might be some sort of there might be a little bit of skill involved.
Right?
Oh, I'm looking
Just
at
a
them on
tough
Google
shit,
right
mate.
now. Those are cool.
Yeah, I'm also sure that, honestly, having the phone on the table and giving them that false sense of them being able to get to the table, I think helps a lot too, you know?
Yeah, well, I've got the phone in like a little stand, and it makes life a bit easier. But I'll try this thing. He's usually a fucking piece of shit.
Henry
But
asked if
people
you
like
have
them.
Guitatus with blue in it.
Yes. That's what people think of when they think of tiger snake, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that.
So there you.
Scott's the real Tiger King.
It's a real tiger snake, man. Look at that. Oh, dude.
Now, as far as relationship, where do Colette snakes fall in with those guys?
To tigers,
Yeah.
they're very distantly related.
Okay.
Don't you do that. What happens with these is they start, after a little bit, they just wig out. They try to chew and fucking everything. Including people. So he behaved himself, then I was surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So there's a couple. Oh, hang on. One of these silly things.
Oh yeah, there's
So
the hinge.
these are the crystal clear systemas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my handle
I like
on.
those.
But I don't use it half the fucking time. Yeah, I'm not sure how the hell I'm going to show you that.
Oh, is that one of the babies?
Oh, hang on. Big fucking small.
Is that the baby Guitatus or one of the Deathies?
Nah, this is one of those 3 gram fucking specials.
Jeez.
Oh wow, dude, it's so tiny.
And that's a big one.
Wow. So hey, so have they put on any weight despite them not eating or shedding?
Not sure yet. I've only weighed them once. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fuck. So, anyway. Alrighty. Anything else you really want to see? Or is that good
I don't
enough?
know. Henry really wanted to see the Guitatus.
Oh, fuck. All right, hang on.
But you can tell Henry no. We tell him no all the time.
Yeah. If it's a handful, we get it, man.
Nah, I'm not going to say no. Nah, that's all right.
You're welcome, Henry.
These things are eating twice a week at the moment, so they fucking eat and shit and eat and shit and eat shit.
Yeah, I swear
I'll
by those
stop
boxes
that.
now, man. I love those things.
Do you guys talk to your snakes as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually involves me saying, "Hey,
You do that?
asshole, stop it, dickhead." You know, or any combination of the handful.
Mine usually goes more like whoa, 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 whoa.
Or "Don't do it, prick" is a pretty common one too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's gonna freeze up just as.
Yeah, it's frozen. Damn it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's frozen on my end.
The satellite must have gone around the corner.
Yeah, right. Damn.
That's all you get, Henry. Wait, I hear him. Scott, if you can hear us, you're frozen, buddy. Womp womp.
Damn.
You know if he's keeping Stropurus geckos at all?
I don't think he has any geckos, to be honest.
No, I thought he might have had some knobtails.
I know he loves them because he's a brilliant, brilliant man. But
Oh, dude, I once, after Meeker's article on Stropurus, oh my god, those things are so cool.
And dude, I've been seeing them now, man. People are actually producing them in consistent, appropriate numbers, you know? And you know they're going to be at Daytona, so you might as well just save your shekels.
I just don't know if I want to deal with bugs. And
dude, it's 2 geckos, man. It's not that big a deal.
Still.
You like how I assume? There he goes.
I'm sure he'll hop back in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Mr. Scott Eiber.
Skyper.
The Skyper.
Plus, I got the beadeds coming, so my lizard fix may be satiated.
Yeah, but you're not gonna let Ellie hold the beaded and let it get.
I wouldn't let her hold the Strophurus if I had them. Those things are expensive, dude.
Ah, come on, man! It's a little gecko.
She can have her a little gargoyle or crested or something that she can take care of. But
yeah, and just for the record, Colettes are Pseudechus, and tigers are Notechus. Totally different genus.
All that is Australian venomous stuff is the same to me.
Aussie Lapids rule.
There's just always something I'm seeing that I'm like, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, well, the other problem too is that there's so many different phenotypes and there's so many different subspecies. It's overwhelming. And then you get people that are like, oh yeah, that's a dugite. And then you drive, 4 hours down the road. They're like, nah, those aren't dugites. We don't call them that. So
Jake Hansen was supposed to send us some Vegemite to try.
Yeah.
But I don't think it ever happened. I bet you I could find some on Amazon.
Yeah, of course you could.
Slightly terrified to try it.
Well, all right. So I've had it. I'm not a fan. I've tried it a couple different ways. I really think it's something you got to grow up with. But my whole thing was my uncle told me, he's like, you do not lather it on like cream cheese. You do a thin spread.
A little bit goes a long way.
A little bit goes a long way, right?
Dab will do you.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it black?
It's jet black. I mean, it has a brownish tinge to it, when you spread it thin.
Like molasses.
Like molasses, yeah, exactly.
What's it taste like?
Yeast.
Really?
Yeah. Bitter yeast. So, but that was good, man. I'm really glad that Scott joined in. That was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I actually I bought his Venomous Snakes book of Australia, and I know he's shipping that sooner than later. Actually, I think Ty's shipping it sooner than later. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to get it. And now I've seen the snake from the cover of the book.
I'm with you. I think those are my favorites out of all.
Oh, dude, yeah, Well's Eyes.
Those are smoking.
Yeah.
And
that
debate.
Yeah, dude.
We had Scott on, but I'm with you on that, man.
And dude, Pyrus are gorgeous. The bands on the Hawkeye are gorgeous, and even those Prolongus that he showed us last time, those are gorgeous too. But dude, that black banded Well's Eye is just oof.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Just that black face.
That black face, yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's interesting because it's that matte color too. It's not glossy. It's
it's cute.
It's yeah.
After our last episode, and we were talking about Deathies, I put some feelers out to a couple buddies because I'd like to get the New Guineas again if I can, And it wasn't so much of, oh, don't worry, they're there, they're expensive. They're just not around. They're just not available.
I've only seen, like I said, Rugosis and the Dejars.
Yeah,
I've never seen any other species for sale.
Well, here I have. I don't know if you want to show them or not. I have some pictures of my old Lavis and Rugosis from years back. I'm actually going to send them to Scott. I keep forgetting to. These are old cell phone photos. I'm gonna try and doctor them up a little bit because they are a little fuzzy, and kind of mess with the colors if I can. Here, let's share this. So that's one of the red Lavis from New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
And I exceptionally like that animal a lot because of the jet black tears.
Yeah, I think we've shown that on like one of the early episodes of this. We were talking about those. That looks familiar.
I've probably shown these pictures before. I just this is me clinging on to the
memory,
faint memory. That's another one.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and see, like
if a red spitter was a little in a viper form.
Yeah,
that's kind of what that reminds me of. Just that tint.
Yeah, and look at it. I mean, we also kept them horribly wrong, and they did fine. But like, knowing what I know now, you know, I was 22 or maybe 21 when I had these things. So what the hell did I know, you know? And
I mean, obviously that species is very adaptable because of given how widespread they are, like that genus, you know, clearly they're pretty tolerant of whatever you throw at them.
Yeah. So there's a rugosus.
That's a nice one too. That's probably the nicest one I've seen.
Yeah.
All the ones I've seen were kind of underwhelming, at least what I've seen for sale.
And these snakes all still had jungle skin. I never took pictures of them, you know, weeks or months later. So
Bill said, "Pretty sure I'm a cigar lightweight. Smoked the Unforgiven, and I think it kicked my ass."
Nice, Bill. So that was actually a blue Lavis. I just thought that was a cool picture because they do that ambush thing, you know. That's a king snake, and that's another Lavis. So
it's interesting that one's much more golden.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure that one shed in the bag on its way over here. So it's still dirty, but it's not as caked on as some of the other ones.
It's not fresh off the boat jungle skin.
Yeah. So good stuff, man. I had pictures of the blue ones, blue Lavis, like that one that's buried in the aspen, but I don't know where they are. I gotta find them. Like I think they're on my old phone.
I had Brian Fisher, who got one of the chondro babies from me forever ago, sent me an updated picture of his. He looks really good.
Oh, nice.
For myself. I thought I saved it, but maybe I didn't. Guess not. Alan Stevens keeps tempting me with Ackies, damn it.
Just pull the trigger, man. Look, you'll get the Ackies, and you'll get crickets for the Ackies, and then you'll already be getting crickets so you can get the golden tails. Just saying.
I don't know.
Look, how many mouths do you have to feed already? 60?
40-ish.
Right, so what's another 4 or 5?
It's different when I can't just pull it out of the freezer.
Yeah.
Or just crack an egg in a bowl like I will with the beateds.
That's true. That's true.
Scott said internet stuffed in the future. Yeah.
He is in the future.
Now Mike Kosicki's telling me to get him too. It's funny. Alan Stevens will randomly send me pictures of Ackies. Just little compilations of pictures he's taken of his recently, of them like breeding and them in little piles, and there's like neonate setups and stuff. And he's like, you know, you want them, and I'm like, I totally do, but I don't know where to put them.
Well, it's like a friend of mine got Bitis Codalis, and he has no aspirations of ever selling me any or giving me any, but he just sends me pictures of it like
that's just wrong.
Just basking on a rock. It's like
I saw some on Fauna, and they're like $1,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool though. That's probably one of my favorite Bitis, easily.
Yeah, dude, they're awesome. They're just freaking awesome.
All right, well, I'm about to piss myself.
Okay, you calling it a night, boy?
Yes.
Well, thank you. Yeah, this is a great episode. Thank you all to all who watched and or listened.
Thank you to Scott.
Thank you to Scott, most definitely. Tip of the hat, sir. Tip of the hat.
Thank you to Puget Sound Pythons for making this happen.
Oh, yeah. The fine people of Puget Sound Pythons.
You will hear us again on Thursday night. I have no idea who we have coming on the show.
I have a couple people lined up.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks for kicking it with us. Join the Snakes and Stogies group so you can see the raffle that will be going down tomorrow. It will be a good one. We promise you that.
Yeah. Cigars, equipment, apparel, you know, helping snakes, helping humans, charitable cause, awesome products. Rock and roll.
See you later.
Bye.